How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be diving into some Live Legend League attacks using Fireball into rocket balloons. And as you can see, I managed to finish 84th last season, which I'm very pleased about. And on top of that, I finished right outside of top 200 on my main account, which was a little bit unfortunate. I did get crushed on defense on a few days, even though I was running the exact same bases on both accounts. As you see, I averaged around 290 on offense on that particular account, and on the account that finished 84th, I averaged about 300 on offense, and also on top of that, really good defensive scores. Also a nice bonus, as you see, top 3 clans in the world get a gem prize, and since I was in the second clan in the world when the season ended, I ended up getting 1000 gems just for free, just basically from being there, on top of the end of season deal. And again, here are the results of the final 2 days of the account that was inside the top 100. 299 on offense, could have been a little bit better, but defense was really good. And here, plus 320 the day before, and minus 295, which is really bad defense, to be really honest. But yeah, we managed to offset it by getting the perfect day. So let's dive into the attacks of the final day of the account that was inside the top 100. Here we have double poison base, very common base style. Really don't see all that many rage bases inside, anywhere near top 200. So yeah, here going for the air sweeper made a lot of sense. And also something I try to keep in mind is the flame flinger. Now, nowadays I probably use the flame flinger 90 or 95% of the time. So really trying to find flinger value on every single base that I can. And here I did spot that the air or that the expo was quite far on the outside. So I invested like 14 rocket balloons since I had 20 at the start. Invested 14 rocket balloons, which is quite a big investment, but for the amount of flame flinger value that I get, I think it's worth the investment. And notice I start the warden first. Here I have to freeze, obviously, the queen. I start the warden first, then I start setting up the flame flinger because time is always an issue with this strategy. So you really want to be, using your time efficiently. So starting the warden charge, letting him take out the junk buildings on the outside while you set up the flame flinger. Have to do a little bit of multitasking. And here, really nice fireball onto the air sweeper. As I said, takes out pretty much most of the core. And yeah, at this point, I mean, I have a couple of choices. I could let the warden go to the left, but fighting the monolith, the king, and the town hall might be a little bit tricky for the warden by himself. So I decide to redirect him with 4 Rocketloons and have the hero dive into the town hall. So here we're creating a manual funnel with the baby dragon. Since you don't have a siege barracks, you have to make sure you funnel your king into the base. And, well, he gets locked onto the monolith, so I pop his ability early. I did not wall break into the town hall compartment, but I do have another wall breaker. Here, have to pay attention to the warden. Yeah, if you have a poison spell, use it on the minion prince if you've already taken out the clan castle. And here, rage was very necessary just so that I can push through that multi-gear tower that was still on the back end. And we still have, I mean, there's not that much time, as you see. Like, there's about 45 seconds, and the queen is dead. Not great, but we do have the royal champion, and she's doing her thing. Now, this season, I'll be trying out the minion prince for sure, because I do want to give that a shot as well, because I think it's as viable as the RC. You might have to play it a little bit differently, and I'll be trying it out this season for sure. And yeah, here you see we still have 20 seconds, so pretty nice. And yeah, let's move on to the next one. Next up, another double poison base. This time it's a ring base. And well, here I immediately noticed, I mean, I have 2 fireball locations. I could fireball on the left side, which would, if I fireball the builder hut, for example, behind the CC, that gets a lot of value. But then I would have to face the fire spitter, which I'm really never a fan of. So for this approach, I opted to go for just the warden on the right side, fireballing that that mono. And here I had a choice. I was gonna do a flame flinger, but then on second thought, I was like, okay, there's no air defense or any air targeting defenses on that top section, so I can just snipe out that those buildings at the top with Rocketloons and just use a siege barracks because, well, siege barracks gets pretty bad value against a ricochet cannon, or if you place it into the ricochet cannon. Here, a very nice fireball. I offset the quakes such that I got the defenses that were right in front of the warden, rather than going for that fire spitter, because I can just snipe out the fire spitter with Rocketloons. That's not an issue. And here my warden went to the top. So I kind of had to change up the plan a little bit because I did already funnel at that top section for my hero dive, expecting the warden to go down. But he kind of switched up on me, so I'm just trying to create a funnel for my heroes at the bottom, sniping out that ricochet cannon so that I can place my siege barracks. And pushing my heroes in. Now the siege barracks is going to get decent value because it's not going to get completely shredded, or the P.E.K.K.A.s aren't going to get completely shredded by the ricochet cannon. And yeah, we're going to push in. The only issue here is that since I funneled that top side, and I would not have done that if I knew that the warden was going to go up. Since I funneled that top side, you will see that the warden kind of sticks to the inside of the base, which is not something that you want, because as you see, the king is going to go for that inferno afterwards, or at least he should, right? Yeah, and he's going to pull the warden with him. So that was a little bit of an issue, and here I invis in front of the warden. That way I can keep his rage aura, or at least try to keep him alive, but at least keep the rage aura for a little bit longer for my heroes to take advantage of. And we snipe out the scatter shot with a bunch of rocket balloons. Still a very overwhelming triple. The fireball value was good, the approach was good, so even though the warden got pulled into the base, it didn't really matter. Another double poison base, and again, you see obvious fireball value in the core. Here, I opt to go for the Crusher Mortar. I always prioritize the Crusher Mortar fireball because the Crusher Mortar can just completely shred your hero dive in seconds if you're not careful. So if you can fireball it out, do so, or if you can warden charge the Crusher Mortar if it's not, inside the fireball range, then do so as well. Here, again, outside X-bows, always just snipe them out. I mean, I'm investing, 6 rocket balloons to snipe it out, and then I can just place a flame flinger down. That's going to get 3 major defenses down, like 2 multi-arch towers and 1 spitter, which is really, really good value. And it's going to prevent any sort of time fails as well. And again, set the warden before the flame flinger. That way you don't run into these time issues. And I'm pushing the warden. I really want him to go up because that's where I can launch the fireball from. If he goes down, it might be pretty tricky to get the fireball onto the pressure mortar. Also, I kind of want to hero dive the town hall. Again, fighting the town hall with the king and the mono might be a little bit tricky with the warden, so would be still manageable, but would be, as I said, a little bit tricky. So here we're just kind of funneling the warden to go to the top side, which is where I'm going to start. Which is where I'm going to launch the fireball from. And as soon as that builder hut is down, it should be 1, 2, 3. 3 invisibilities to be safe. And yeah, very nice fireball. Maybe not even needed to invis that ricochet cannon, but again, it's better to be safe. Especially in that final day, do not want to be missing those fireballs. And again, manual funnel with a baby dragon and some rocket balloons. And I'm expecting the king to get locked onto pretty early on by this mono. It should lock on in just a second, so as soon as it locks on, we just freeze. I mean, maybe I should have just popped the king ability, honestly, since it's not going to open up the other compartment anyways, or the next compartment. But yeah, here we're just raging the queens, pushing through that town hall. Again, time is ticking, so send the RC at around 40 seconds. That's kind of the blueprint to when you want to send the RC. And here I'm trying to keep the queen alive, but as you see, the mortar forces her ability, which is not something that you see very often. Here, the minion prince, again, See, similar trend, I poison the minion prince. As soon as I fireball the CC out, I always keep that in mind. Always poison down the minion prince, and yeah, we should have just about enough time, sending in the headhunters for the queen as well. And yeah, a very nice triple, so let's move on to the next attack. Here's a double poison base that I'm sure many have seen. This one is a pretty common one in Legends this season, and the way I'd like to attack it now, one thing that you will notice is the CC is a little bit offset, so you can fireball the multi Inferno in the bottom side of the base to get the CC. You can't do the same on the other Inferno, so that's something to keep in mind. You can save yourself an invisibility there. And again, for this base, you can set up a really decent Flame Flinger at, the 11 o'clock section. But yeah, here I make a pretty bad mistake. I placed the Flame Flinger in the range of the Inferno, so I opt to invest a free spell. I think that's worth it. And here I'm trying to save a free spell. Since I used the freeze onto the multi, I'm really trying to save a free spell on that particular interaction with the Ricochet Cannon and the X-Bow. If you send 2 Rocketloons early enough into a Ricochet Cannon while while the Warden is fighting it with the X-Bow, then you can save yourself a spell. But be very careful because your Warden is going to be very low on HP afterwards, so you don't want him to step into a lot of damage right after because you're going to need to use a spell anyway then. But since he was, relatively safe after that, I opted to, go for it. And again, trying to funnel him. I'm not sure where the best place for him to go, but I don't mind if he goes towards the minion prince. Here again, poisoning down the minion prince. Maybe the freeze was a little bit too much, but again, better to be safe. And as soon as the warden has chosen which way he wants to go, I just start the hero dive. 1 minute 30. Now this base, I have run into some time issues on this base, especially on the back end, just because my hero dive pushes into this fire spitter, which is a little bit tough. Here I'm just trying to snipe out the crusher mortar. As I said, the crusher mortar just shreds your heroes in seconds. So I think for this particular base, if you can snipe it out, just like I did in that case, also pull the poison, which is great. If you can snipe it out and pull the poison, that's really good value. And here popping the king ability, not getting, or well, it got forced. I didn't really pop it. It got forced, but yeah, it didn't really get all that much value. And here starting the RC early because I do know that, I can run into some time issues on that back end because it is pretty heavy. You see that core. So I opted to start RC early. I didn't pop her ability right away because I knew that she was safe among the defenses at the top. So yeah, that's why I kept it for a little bit longer here, delaying the RC ability until it's actually needed. And here we shouldn't have too many time issues, although it's still a little bit close. Should have like 5 seconds. 5 seconds remaining, maybe 10 seconds remaining at the end of the attack. So yeah, pretty solid. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Another common base. This one I showed in one of my other videos on how to attack it. And yeah, this one is relatively okay. I mean, it can be a little bit tricky, but if you execute the attack, if you get the flame flinger value, now this one is edited a little bit where the X-bow is covering the scatter shot. Sometimes this base has scatter shot and the X-bow switched around, and in that case, your flame flinger gets just insane value. Here we're just going to get the ricochet cannon and the. I'm not sure if it's going to get the Inferno Tower. I don't think so, but honestly, it should be okay. And as you saw on the left side, we did snipe out the multi-arch tower to force my warden to go to the right side, and also save an invisibility for the firewall, because here I'm aiming for the fire spitter. Again, going to take out the CC, going to take out the fire spitter and the Inferno, which is decent value. And since I know this base, I know that there's a bunch of traps in that section, so always scout for that NATO here and a bunch of seeking air mines with some rocket balloons. And yeah, here, continuing, moving forward, it's going to be a double invisibility fireball because I don't have to invis the X-bow. So I'm going to save myself an invis, or actually one invis. Well, yeah, you see if you look at the outside, if you look at the rage aura around the warden, if you wind back a little bit, you will see that, that rage aura is significantly closer to the fire spitter, which is how I judge the distances of the fireball. And that's a really nice trick to use. Here, the super minions should die off, which is kind of what I want. I don't really want my warden following these super minions, which it can be an issue. But again, I've attacked this base quite a few times, so I know that the super minions should die off relatively quickly here. Hero dive. I mean, I didn't really talk about the hero dive, but pop the king ability early just to get through that section and trying to invis the queens so she takes out the town hall. And then we're just hoping that the RC is enough on the back end. Now, this rage on RC, I mean, it's okay, but yeah, I mean, as you see, my poison was a little bit late and she took a lot of damage. The Spirit Fox took a lot of damage, so she died off really quickly because of that. And I didn't use my headhunters, I don't think. So that was a mistake on my end. But we still should have enough and we'll be able to overpower the base. So this is a similar base that I attacked before. And, well, here, looking at it, you could fireball the monolith. That gets really good value, right? So immediately, I know where to fireball here. Um, Second thing is the flame flinger. You can invest a bunch of rocket balloons and snipe out the X-bows, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to snipe out one X-bow and I'm going to set up a flame flinger on the left side. Now, again, I start the warden first, then I start setting up the flame flinger. I know that he's relatively safe at the very start of the attack, so that's when I can pay attention to the setup of the flame flinger. I could have also placed the flame flinger for the multi inferno and the crusher mortar, to be honest. I might try that next time I see this base, but I set it up kind of on the left side to get the ricochet cannon and the fire spitter. And here we do get a partial CC pull, which is why I kind of um, delayed my what you call it, the flame flinger. And also, as you noticed, the headhunter timing was pretty bad, so I had to invest a freeze. So I'm already a freeze down, which kind of sucks a little bit, but not the end of the world. Here, Warden steps up for that X-bow, and I'm gonna get rid of that X-bow, and that's when I'm gonna set up a flame flinger. And should be good to go now. Or not the flame flinger, the fireball. What am I saying? Yeah. Double invis. Just to be safe, I deployed the third one just in case because I feel like the fireball would have gone to that builder hut. And here I step into the crusher mortar. I end up getting my headhunters sprung. And yeah, now we're in full recovery mode because once you lose your warden like that, yeah, it's pretty tough. I mean, you might have enough power at the end of the attack, but time is just a massive issue. And with that much time left, 1 minute 15, it's going to be pretty hard. The wall breakers are being extra dumb here. They're going for the compartments with the storages, not getting that wall break towards the town hall. That second wall breaker doesn't even go for the dark elixir storage kind of intersection, so I don't get a wall break here. Popping the king ability, pretty good king ability to be honest. It did set off the poison spell tower and also the crusher mortar got taken out. And here in a panic, I end up dropping a free spell by accident, which further decreased my chances of being able to 3-star this base. And my RC is going to get cooked here. Queen is still lagging behind, not really getting all that much value. And yeah, unfortunately, this is our biggest miss of the day, which was quite unfortunate and was very preventable. I should have just poisoned down or frozen the RC. That would have been perfectly fine. But yeah, since we were a little bit greedy, we do get a pretty big miss. This is one of those bases that I absolutely love attacking because, well, I have failed on it a couple of times due to negligence of, the heroes, but most of the time, if you do this approach, if you set up the flame flinger like I do in this case, and you do the fireball into that crusher mortar compartment, you should be able to deal with this base relatively easily. You see the flame flinger, sometimes there's even Tesla farms at 3 o'clock, which makes your flame flinger value even better. But here, a very cheap fireball. I did get lucky with that Tesla. Like, that Tesla could have pulled my fireball quite easily, which, yeah, scout for Teslas because, I mean, I don't know why this guy had those random Teslas there, but he did. And, yeah, got a little bit lucky, but that fireball onto the multi-arch tower gets the whole compartment down, adding a baby dragon to kind of just snipe off the elixir storage so that my warden goes down, because that's kind of where I want him to go. And yeah, I want him to go behind the fire spitter, kind of around the town hall a little bit. And here the plan, you can see that I'm going to send in the heroes at about 11 o'clock. And that's... Here I should get to the town hall eventually because the flame flinger is creating that really nice funnel for them. Here, freeze down the crusher or the multi-gear tower. Always freeze it down. And yeah, looking pretty good now. The ice golem gets popped onto the ricochet cannon, so I feed the wall breaker through. And yeah, gonna pop the king ability shortly. Think we get, yeah, get 2 Rocketloons, which, yeah, luckily we're not facing that crap with the warden charge, because 2 Rocketloons onto the warden is just super annoying. You always have to invis the warden, but here, to be honest, we have a lot of invisibility, so we could have even afforded to place an invis on the warden. And the plan usually here is to just continuously invis the queen. Here, you deploy a bunch of Rocketloons into this poison spell compartment. Sometimes you're going to get the poison tower pull. I guess not this time. This time it just floated in the air for no reason, but it got pulled by one normal loon. Doesn't really make much sense, but yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, you still see we have the RC on the back end, freeze, rage, headhunters, and yeah, very, very nice triple. So for our final base here, we have a double poison ring base, and here, looking back at it, I wasn't quite sure what the plan would be. I noticed that I could get really good fireball value by that CC area, but I was scouting for the flame flinger for quite a bit, and I was not sure what to flame flinger here. So whenever I'm not sure about flame flinger, I just set up my warden, and here we don't really have that much time to think about the flame flinger, but sometimes I use that time while the warden is doing his thing to kind of look around and scout for more flinger value. Um, and here I'm just kind of paying attention to the warden because I do want to get that CC, and I wasn't 100% sure at the moment if I could get the CC by fireball in the mono, and I believe I can, but I just went for the fireball onto the multi Inferno Tower. And here, I mean, I was thinking of sniping out the X-bow, but then I was like, okay, no, that's not really worth the investment. And especially this late in the attack, I set up a flame flinger at the top, which honestly, I probably should have just set it up at the start if I could, because that's going to get decent value. And at this point, I kind of need to start the hero dive anyway, so the flame flinger is going to be kind of worthless. As you see, like, I'll start my hero dive. The flame flinger is going to do its thing, but it's not really going to get the value because the heroes are going to step into the damage of the multi-arch tower anyways. So that was definitely something that I did incorrectly in that part. And yeah, if I set it up earlier, maybe I would have saved my heroes a little bit with having that multi-arch tower taken out. Here, you do get tagged by the town hall with the warden, so I'm going extra safe. I'm going to place down an invis right ahead of the warden so that, he can stay topped off. Getting the queen ability forced, never a good thing, especially this early in the attack. Um, So yeah, at the moment, just hoping that the queen does not pull the warden, because that's the main thing. And I deploy 2 Rocketloons plus a baby dragon to try to pull the warden down towards the 6 o'clock area of the base, thinking that the queen might lure him to the core. Again, that's something I really want to avoid. But yeah, since the queen ability got forced pretty quickly, I yeah, she just dies off. Like, she does not survive that core, which is a big problem because time is definitely an issue, and RC is not going to be enough for the core to go down. So I would have to rely on the warden, and yeah, because of that, unfortunately, we're going to run into time fill here. But yeah, if the flame flinger was set up a little bit earlier, I probably would have gotten it. Um, so yeah, something to learn from, and yeah, the next time I see this base, I'm for sure going to do that flame flinger setup.